Playwright has this really cool feature that will actually record your inputs onto a website and turn it into code for you. What this means is we can quickly and easy create a shell for our script that is a good place to start with for our automation and testing. And in this video, I'm going to show you how it works. So the first thing is you have to make sure you have Playwright installed. I covered that in my first video. And then we want to run Playwright codegen like this. What this is going to do is it's going to pop up this browser window here and also this inspector. Now anything that we do in this left-hand browser window is going to be recorded and put into our inspector here, which we can then copy and run in our VS Code later. So I'm going to go ahead and input a URL here for a testing and a demo store. And you can see that we now have on line 12 our page.goto and the URL, which is how you go to a new page on Playwright. So there's one thing that I want to cover first, and that is that although I said it records all your inputs, it won't actually record your mouse wheel, which means if you scroll down and look for an element that only appears when you get scrolling past a certain point, or maybe the content is dynamically loaded, you need to actually type that into the code yourself, and I'll show you what I mean just now. So on this website, if I scroll down, you'll see that we get this little up arrow in the corner, which is quite common on these sorts of websites, that you can click to take you back up to the top. But you'll notice that in this codegen here, we only have page.goto and page.click. So if I copy this and close out here and paste our code in and run it, what we're going to get is we're going to get to go to the first page, and it's just going to wait because it's not going to find that element. Nothing's happening, and it will eventually fail and tell us that the element doesn't exist on the page. However, as soon as we start to scroll down, it appears and our code closes because of our browser.close and our context.close here. But what we can do is we can actually use page.mouse.wheel. And this takes two arguments, X and a Y axis. And if we don't want to go sideways, we do 0. And we'll do 4000 in here. And that is actually going to scroll down the page for us. What I'm going to do to demonstrate that is I'm going to import time. And above it and below it, we'll do time.sleep. Just so we can see what's happening. So let's do 2 seconds before, and we'll do 4 seconds afterwards. So when I run this now, what you're going to see is it's going to scroll down the page, and then we're waiting for that 4 seconds. That element does exist, it gets clicked, and because we're in our context manager and our browser.close, the page closes up. So what we're going to do now is we're going to actually do a more in-depth automation script on this website. We're actually going to simulate buying something from here, which is quite a common thing that you would do when you were testing an e-commerce website to make sure adding to the cart, etc., etc., and the data input all works properly and you can actually take orders. So let's get rid of all of this. Let's clear that up and we'll run Playwright codegen once more. We have our browser pop up. I'll move the inspector over so we can see. Put that there and grab the URL one more time and let's paste it in. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the menu. We can see that come up, page.click, menu button, and then this one, men, tops, and we'll do jackets. Now it's worth noting at this point that codegen actually does prefer the text element selectors. Now this is all well and good and it will work. However, I find them quite unwieldy, especially when it's trying to select a lot of text. You obviously can override this in your code when you want to, but it's just something to keep in mind. So what we're going to do, let's click on the first product here, load it up. We can see that we've come over here and it's all added in. We'll change the color. We'll click on a size. And then we'll scroll down and we'll click add to cart. Now we do get this pop up, so I'm going to click on OK and then scroll up to the top and we're going to click on the shopping cart here. Now if you notice when I scrolled up, that browser nav bar actually popped down. We'll need to deal with that at the end. So we'll click on this, then go to checkout and we'll fill in some details. Steve. Now I quite often use tab to move in between the fields, but it's going to be more reliable to click, so we'll do that this time. Put in some fake data, click continue to shipping. Let's go for the street name, put in some numbers, city, LA, CA, put in a zip code, a phone number, let's just do that. Scroll down, click continue payment. All of this is being recorded on this side. And we're going to go click on this text box to fill that in. And we see we've got our page.click here. Scroll down again, click go to review the order. click on the accepting of the terms, and click place the order. So all of this has been recorded. Now we're going to get our order confirmation, and there's a couple more things that I want to do whilst we're still on this page. And we want to make sure that this works, and we want to have our order number stored as a reference so we know what actually happened. Now you can go ahead and hit inspect element on this and find everything that you want. So what we're going to do is I'm actually just going to click on some of these because I get the selectors in our code. So I'm going to click on this one because we're going to want to add in a wait for element to exist, and we're going to pick that one there, and we want to have this number here stored. So if I go to the inspect element tool here, we can actually see that when I select it, there's not an awful lot to go on here. What you can do is if you stop recording, you can click on explore, and it will actually show you the same sort of thing. So we could click on this. You can see that it's saying here's the text, and when I hover over it, it would be that specific element. However, that's not going to work for us. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to go ahead and go copy the XPath, and I'm going to save that over here because we're going to want to use that afterwards. And just to make sure, we'll use the CSS selector as well, just to make sure in case that one doesn't work. So those are two are saved. So what we're going to do with this one, I'm actually just going to go record again and click, just so our click's recorded, so it's in there, and I'll show you why I did that in just a second. But now everything is done. I'm going to go ahead and copy this because we're going to want to replicate this. So let's go and paste in here. And this is everything that we did. You can see all of our inputs. This is where we hit tab. Like I said, probably best not to hit tab, but we'll leave it in for now and we'll check because we're going to check that this is all going to work anyway. So let's run it. We can see it going through everything and hitting add to cart. And this is the point that I told you that we were at before. So watch what happens if I scroll up, it carries on. So what we need to do is we need to go back to our page and we need to add in a scroll up on that bit so it goes up to the top so it can find that button again. You'll notice it's hanging on this point, and that's because I deliberately did a click on this order number and it's looking for an element, but obviously we've got the next order number up, so it's not finding it, but that's okay for now. So when I click close out of this, it's not finding this element because it doesn't exist because we've moved on to the next number. So what we need to do is we need to find our add to cart, and it was just before, so we couldn't find this element without me scrolling up. So in between this, I'm going to do page.mouse.wheel like I showed you earlier. 0 because we don't want to go sideways. Let's go 1000 up. We'll hit save. And now we'll run this again, and hopefully we should manage to get all the way to the end and only fail on that element that doesn't exist. Okay, so that failed because I actually decided to scroll down when I meant to scroll up. So we needed to have a minus because if we scroll to the bottom of the page, that element's not going to be there. There we go. Now I've corrected that. That should work nicely. Scroll up. There we go. That worked. So that solved that issue. And we're making it all the way to the end, placing our order. So now all we need to do is, let's close this because we know that this is not going to find this element here, is we're going to change this into our, let's have an order is equal to page.query selector. And I'm going to paste in, let's try the XPath selector here, paste that in, and we want the .text content of that, and we'll print out order. Now, this part here where we're clicking on this element, I'm leaving it like this. It's not perfect because you don't want to have to click on an element which is just a piece of text to wait for it. You would probably want to use the wait, but this is going to work for us just fine. So let's run this now, and hopefully this should all go through nice and quick, and at the end we should get in our terminal the printout of the order number that we just placed. There we go. So you can see we placed this new order number here. So what we could quite conceivably do now is take this script and manipulate it and make it run multiple times, so we could really test this website to make sure that all different sorts of inputs work, clicking on all of the extra buttons work, make sure that it fails on the text input in the cart properly, and make sure that all functions properly. And we've done that all using Playwright and automation. If you've enjoyed this video, I would highly recommend that you go ahead and watch this one as well, which I think you'll find equally as interesting.